All right, let's get started with our intimate session around conversion. Is Deepak coming and hanging out for a little while?
Absolutely.
Yes, all right. Okay, so before we get started in this, I have obviously things I want to talk to you about. And what are some things you want to make sure that I cover or talk about when it comes to conversion? And don't give me the classic, how do I convert more open house leads? It's a much bigger, broader conversation than that. But what are, as far as conversion is concerned, what are some things you guys want to know? Zoom land 2.
Social media.
Social media, converting on social media. Okay.
Converting one sphere of influence.
Anyone on Zoom have anything specific they want to make sure I talk about?
I have one. Converting leads that don't look like leads to get into like your entire sphere.
Okay.
How do you spark a conversation with them that would eventually lead to something, talking something about real estate?
That's a good one. You're smart. You're a smart man back there.
Thank you. Please.
Converting, converting business that may not look like business up front. Okay.
Is that also being converting sphere of influence?
Essentially, yeah. Because and I'll kind of talk, around Raymond's real quick, converting warm sphere of influence people. Give me a little bit more specifics. Are you saying in the sense?
These are people that probably know that they are going to buy or sell. And I think converting business would be more like people that don't know that they can buy or sell.
Okay, so similar to what Deepak's asking.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I like that. You're always gonna run into the friend zone, right? Friend, family member, don't want to cross over that line, don't want to seem too pushy. And the first rule of this class is get that out of here, right? Understand that can always be a thing, and you just have to toe the line when it comes to that stuff. And you have to bring it up front. So this is actually a good thing that I don't have covered in there. Okay. All these AI assistants, it's only going to get more and more AI assistants. So one of the things I always say is you have to be willing to ask the hard questions and make the hard statements, especially when it comes to friends, family members, people who you have a past relationship with, and maybe they just don't, Deepak, I've been dancing with you for years and everything like that, and I want to continue dancing with you. I just feel, if we go into a real estate transaction together, I may not feel like I can tell you the hard questions or fire you, or if you're not doing a good job, tell you you're not doing a good job. That's always going to be a thing. And so I always say you gotta at the very forefront of the conversation, anytime you guys start talking about actually doing business together, you attack it head on. Don't let it linger in the back of someone's head. Don't let it linger in your head. But you go directly for it, and you say, hey, this may be a thing that you think about. And I want to tell you up front, can we make an agreement with each other that we are going to treat this like a business transaction? Yes, we are friends. Yes, we are family members. Yes, we are neighbors. We are cohorts in dancing, whatever it may be. Yes, we are that. But in this transaction here, I'm your real estate consultant. I'm your advisor here. So I'm going to tell you things that you may not want to hear. You are going to tell me things that I may not want to hear. So can we agree, friend to friend, whatever it may be, that we can have that relationship with each other and move past that if there anything that's going to come up, because I'm going to fight on your behalf, and I'm going to tell you the things that you need to do into a house, and you're going to share with me sometimes something I may not want to hear. And I use it as constructive feedback all the time. I always want my clients giving me constructive feedback. So can we have that agreement up front? So in terms of talking to people who you feel like there's that friend line, always just make that agreement up front that we can be civil. We can separate this and make it a business transaction. So we're gonna talk about both these things. So finding out people who are sphere, people in sphere of influence. We're just having our daily conversations with them, how we're pulling out motivation and finding out if they want to buy or sell. And then social media, we're going to talk a ton about how to convert those people on social media. Okay, let's get started. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today: identifying your market, organizing and systematize, connect, online presence, be where they are, and content. I am at the king of oversimplification. Why do you think I oversimplify things?
So that everyone can.
Everyone can understand. It's really so I can understand it. I do not like complicated processes. You were just talking about, you dove into Command, and Command's a massive platform, right?
Yeah.
And you can go down 20 different avenues on what to do. And the reality is just start with one little piece of it, because otherwise my brain gets all foggy and then I don't want to jump into it, right? Or when we're designing a flyer, we could just get totally go mayhem, go crazy on it. Tons of chaos. But we don't want to do that. So oversimplify it. And we're going to talk actually a little bit about simplifying things. So first is identifying your market. So where are your leads coming from? You need to get clear at this. Why do you think you need to get clear on where your leads are coming from?
You can focus on the one thing.
Focus on the one thing, right? If you're getting more success in one lane, what does that mean? Two more in that lane. You always should have your pulse on that. It's funny. Whenever I bring up Alan Wang and I talk to any agent about Alan Wang, and they're like, what is Alan doing? How is he getting that much success? I'm like, you're going to be upset when I tell you. He focuses on his database. Yes, he sends out marketing things, but I just talked to him a couple days ago about that, and he's not seeing a ton of return on that. It's all database. So if you see these top agents in the marketplace and it's all database, what does that mean? You got to build a database first and foremost. Absolutely. Build a database, but you got to be a conversationalist. You got to build relationships with people. It's not just I saw them on social media and I was hooked immediately. It's way more than that. And that's what we're really going to talk about. But you have to identify your market, because you have to identify where they're at in the funnel. And I'm going to show you the funnel here in a second. And then it also, understanding where your leads are coming from is what type of content do they want, right? So we were just kind of talking about that as far as social media is concerned. Priyanka asked, how do I know what to put on social media, or how do I convert those people who are on social media? How do I know to get the hook? And the first thing you got to do is you get into their shoes. We are consumers just like they are consumers. And the same things that work on you are the same things that we're going to work on them. And we're going to talk more about that. But you want to know truly what is that content that they want, and how do you find that content out? It's the connection. We're going to talk about the connection, but it's asking great questions. And so where are they at in the funnel? So maybe, you can actually probably read that. And then also you'll have all the slides. There's a QR code. You'll get all this stuff. Okay. So this funnel right here is kind of where I put everybody when it comes to real estate motivation, not where they're at in a relationship with you, but real estate motivation. So on the top is awareness. They have overall awareness. Now this says your property, but the reality is overall awareness of you. Think about it that way. Overall awareness that Deepak sells houses, and I know that I could go to him and talk to him. Then there's interest. This one. People that engage with your property listing. So that's someone who has actively clicked on something. Someone maybe from your sphere of influence, from social media, who said, oh, this is a beautiful house. We're looking for something like this. Or someone you met at an open house. This is just the interested stage. Then leads, visitors that show specific interest in the property. This is where there's qualifying questions coming in. Now you know that there is some motivation that trails behind it. For me, this is a key stage, visits and leads. There's lots of times we treat these people like these people, or sorry, vice versa. We treat these people like they're these people. And actually, Alexis, you just sat down, but one of the things, this is what we did in our business, but we always pre-qualified. Pre-qualification is the key for everything. Couple reasons for that. One, you find out if they're really qualified in the first place, but two, that motivation. That's what you're going to find out. And I was talking to John and I asked, where are you finding success right now? And he said his team started pre-qualifying way more of their appointments before they went on them, and they found conversion increase. Because you know where to take the conversation and you know that is a real person that you're going to be meeting with. And what I don't want you doing is I don't want you losing your interest in real estate or losing your interest in lead generation because you're spending too much time with these people who have an interest. Guess what? We all have an interest in real estate. Everyone has somewhat of an interest in real estate. 77, I've shared this stat before, 77% of people Zillow polled said they were not actively looking or buying, actively looking to buy or sell, but they're on that site scrolling away, right? We're ingesting everything on HDTV, which really, if you actually took the time to see the people when HDTV kind of, rose to fame, more and more people got into real estate, those stars are making buku bucks on their own network. They're getting their own networks now. The whole stations are giving them the cash cow to be able to go out there and create more content because so many people ingest it. So we know a lot of people are going to be in that interest stage. But it's when we really get into a spot right here where we understand what their motivation is and understand what they want to do and why they want to do it, that we can really start the conversion. Okay. And I don't, one of the things I really like, and this may be a not wrong thing to say, but I don't know how you guys will take it. I don't consider conversion. I met them at an open house, and I gave them a discount and we went on our merry way. I don't think that's conversion. There's no real relationship there. So you still need to convert that lead to a relationship. So there's a couple things we're talking about here, right? We're talking about the transaction and we're talking about the relationship. I'm going to have, there's only a couple people on the call. So I'm going to have Travis share this at I think our next insider meeting. So I was talking to Travis yesterday, and two years ago or a year ago, I think maybe beginning of COVID, maybe, Travis got a Redfin lead, and he called them, showed them a house, and they said, well, I'm going to be truthful. My husband already has a real estate agent in mind that we want to use, so we're probably going to use them to do the transaction. He's like, oh, okay, totally understand, right? That will happen, right? Especially if we're paying for leads. There's no connection there. They're just using us to open a door, and that's okay. We want the at-bats. So I think either almost a year or several months later, that person reaches out to him and says, hey, you know what? Didn't work out with that agent. We'd like to use you to do a transaction. So they do a transaction together. That person then referred him two more people since then, and then referred him another person. This was just either yesterday or a day ago. And he says, hey, so now it's the husband talking to Travis and says, hey, we have this person. They actually manage a hedge fund, and they're really unhappy with their real estate agent. He's very old and just kind of falling out of the business, no real resources there. Would you like to meet with him? And he's like, please, absolutely. Meets with this person. They meet one time. He's already got 3 pieces of prospective business coming from that. The hedge fund's girlfriend came to, I think, a meeting, and she kind of asked a couple of questions of Travis. And then she goes, okay, I want you to list my condo. And they're listing the hedge fund manager's property, which was listed at $740 before. Travis came in and said, you need to do about $20,000 worth of work. And the reality is the listing price of this should be around $640. That person respected that, came back to Travis and said, yeah, I think you're probably right. It'll probably sell for around $640. I want to introduce you to my girlfriend. She may have something. Girlfriend interviews Travis. She says, okay, I want to list my condo. So it shows you right there, if we're thinking of just one transaction, we kind of miss out sometimes on things. And there's times we get commission breath and we just want to focus on what's this one person going to do for me when they come into that open house. But the reality is, and we'll talk about it, we want to play that long game. We need to play the relationship game. So it's really, really about what are the things we're saying? What are the things that we're asking? How are we showing up in that process? How are we building the relationship? And that is true conversion. We want to convert to relationships, not just convert to transactions. The transactions come from the relationships. Alan Wang and lots of other top producers out there have proven that relationships equal transactions. So keep that in the back of your mind. Then we have leads that are willing and able to close a deal. That's where we know that there's motivation and they're qualified, and then boom, we're closing transactions with them. All right. So Branka, you may not want to read that first part there, but you need to get organized. Okay. You need to leverage technology. Now, am I saying you need to be an expert in command? No, I'm not saying you need to be an expert in command. If you guys were here for the real estate or the lead generation mastermind where Zach and Travis were talking about his command system, so I'll pass this around. Did you make this or did Travis build this and give it?
I think Travis went there.
Okay, well, I found it on my desk and it's perfect. But this is Travis's 1, 2, 3 on how he organizes his database.
You want me to make copies?
I want it.
Absolutely want you to make copies of it. This is my one copy, so no one hurt my copy.
Let me just make copies of that.
Well, let me read it. So we're gonna go over it and your minds are going to be blown by how complicated, that's sarcasm, this is. So first things first, leverage technology. So his first bullet point, enter into command. Okay, we got that. What am I putting in command? Name, phone, email, birthday, home anniversary, wedding anniversary. And if you didn't hear his little tip, he gets their wedding anniversary. And then a couple days before the anniversary, he calls to say, hey, congratulations, Ann. Just want to make sure you remember that it was your actual anniversary coming up. Calls the husband. But remember, we're not sexist. We're not sexist here. So ladies, you can screw it up too. It's not just us guys. And then G, the last point on here, he says, enter notes on prospect. Why is that important? Enter notes on prospect. Kevin Cole.
Next time you pick up, you know exactly.
You know exactly what to say. We're gonna
It's like a continuity of conversation.
continue the conversation, and it shows you asked questions. If you're not entering notes, if it's not written down that in your process, you need to enter notes. What are you doing? Wants to buy a house in Sunnyvale, 3.2. Qualify for 1.5. You gotta have notes on the prospect. So train yourself that every person you're writing notes down and you're asking important questions. Number 2, what does he do? For new clients, set a smart plan, monthly call plan or quarterly call plan, puts them on a neighborhood nurturer, save search on command, and then task for interaction every 3 to 4 days or for 2 weeks. So first 2 weeks, every 3 to 4 days, he's interacting with the people, and then sets smart plans. Now this is for past clients, monthly call or quarterly, 12 to 4 touches, nurture, enters birthday, home anniversary, send card, wedding anniversary, husband, heads up phone calls, what it says. And then send card or monthly magazine. So that's American Media or Corfax, what he uses, and then invite to team events, holiday pie giveaway, movie night, etc. This is it. Travis is number 6 in the Walnut Creek office out of 500 agents.
Really?
Yes. Travis is not some suit wearing, pulling up in his Ferrari person. He's a relationship builder. That's what he does. He focuses on the people in front of him. Create tags based on their interests and motivation. So does anyone do this in command right now? Deepak, do you do this in command? Create tags and based on interest and motivation?
Yes.
Yes.
We have
So-
a bunch of tags.
So what are some of the tags that you use and why do you do that way?
So ABC buyers, by default, everyone is a C. We definitely have A and B. We also have like VIPs, and VIPs are not only house clients, but the people who are actively referring. So and we are still working on it. We're trying to create plans where we wish them birthdays, we send them like Starbucks gift cards and all that stuff, because those are the people who I know they are watching my social media posts, they are watching my transactions, they're kind of following my everything.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Do you do anything based off of interests?
Interest as, so.
Not
Yes.
the properties they're interested in, but their personal interests.
Not yet.
So I want you to think about this, okay? Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it is if they have pets, dogs, cats, or if they like some sports specifically, just add tag for that.
Exactly. And the main reason for doing that is just like Raymond was saying, we know that we are pretty much guaranteed 6 figures if we have 200 plus people in our database and we're touching on them somehow. We're pretty much guaranteed it. The numbers show it. So if we're doing our job just a little bit and we have 200 plus people in there, we know that we're going to be able to close business. So if we want to earn more than that, which we can all agree we want to earn more than just the $100,000, we want to get above that. Otherwise, you're not living in this area. You need to have a bigger database. The bigger the database gets, what happens? The more chaotic it is, right? You and I were talking, I think our first meeting together, and you said you have tons and tons and tons of people inside your database, and that can get very hectic. So if you tag everyone based off of interests, what happens? Kevin, I talk to Jeff constantly, right, about sports, right? And so whenever I see Jeff, I know, boom, I'm going to sport. Anything that just popped up, I start talking about sports. So now I see that Chris Paul gets traded to the Warriors, and I can go into my database and I can click basketball or Warriors. And now I have a list of people that I can send out a message to, just a text message. Hey, what do you think about what happened here? Now, do you really care about getting into a conversation with 100 plus people over Chris Paul going to the Warriors? Probably not, but it shows to them that you're thinking about them. Again, moving this little person forward in the line in building that relationship. And I don't know if you can do this. Tell me if you guys can do this on the Android or Samsung phones. For an iPhone, you can do a quick. I think it's like essentially you can put in just a couple digits and it auto puts in a message for you. So you can go into your settings, on my way, you can do OMW, right? And then it automatically puts on my way. So you can program those yourselves. Yeah. I have it where I put in RE, which I need to change because I put in RE a lot. And then it just puts my Eric Bradley and it puts my DRE number, Keller Williams. So you can have these quick things. So you can go, let's say you want to send this message from your phone. You can use this in command and send it from Robo Deepak or Robo Agent, whatever you want to do. But you can put it in your phone. So I want to send to you that Chris Paul just joined the Warriors. I want to know what you think about it. So I type the message up into the settings and I just put in CP3 as the quick text. And so then I go into a message with you real quick, type in CP3, boom, message pops up, click send. Go into Raymond, CP3, boom, the message pops up, click send. So it's a very easy way for you to send from your phone, not spamming, quick messages to people. Do you guys know, can you do that in an Android? I'm sure it has that capability.
So, and
Yeah.
what I've seen is the phone learns. The more you use the same phrases every single time. Now, next time I type the first word, it'll keep suggesting the
They'll
following.
keep putting, okay.
I just to click.
Yeah, so similar, but this is a quick way.
If we connect through command.
That's not connected through command. That's separate. Yeah, so you would organize yourself in command where you would see who likes the Warriors, who likes basketball, and get that list, and you just start going down that list and texting people. But you actually, I would say, you may be able to do it from the command app because the command app open up, Raymond, your text message. If you go to text someone from the command app, does it open up your text message? Okay, so you could do it through command. That way it logs everything that you're doing. So again, you just want to think of little things that create more efficiency for your time and you're able to talk to more and more people. But I think that was Rashali talking. Just like what she was saying as far as putting in dogs, cats. I inherited cats when I inherited my girlfriend. And I can officially confirm I'm not a cat person. So don't put me under your cat category. But if you put dogs in there, sure, you can put me in the dog category. But are there some people who are just obsessed, who watch just like cat videos or dog videos constantly. There's lots of people, there's a huge market for it. So you see a funny TikTok, you see a funny meme or something like that, and you think it's hilarious, send it out to your database, right? So we're not just talking about real estate conversations here. We're talking about conversions of relationships. Priyanka, also let's give it up for Priyanka. She just you converted your first appointment at an open house. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now we just need the person to show up. So let's say you set that appointment on Saturday and you're meeting them on Monday. Do you think it would be bad to send them something funny, something that connects them a little bit more to where it's easier for you to meet at that point? To me, I always use levity. I would hope you guys can tell that. I hope I'm funny to you. But I use levity when it comes to making connections with people. So take your authentic self. What would you do if you saw something interesting happening? If you find out someone uses Bank of America, right? And Bank of America just had all that stuff in the news as far as the fees and things like that. Put that into your the interests or tags, and you're able to then just go out. Hey, I know you bank with Bank of America. Hopefully you're going to get some money from this, right? No need a full conversation from it, but they see that Priyanka or Deepak is interested in them and knowing what's going on in their life. And then the key really with it is you want to be consistent. None of this works without consistency. If you're not consistent, you're not converting. Simple as that. So I pulled this. This is actually from a bodybuilder, a trainer. And they said consistency allows for us to work on changing one habit at a time, which will actually help us reach our goals even faster. When we focus on consistency instead of perfection, we feel like we're doing a better job, making more progress, and our motivation stays higher for longer. You have to be cool with the monotony of this business. And this business is boring at times. You get sick of answering the same question over and over again. I swear I just told you that, but you have to do it more times with more people, especially in this marketplace. It's more conversations, it's more questions being answered, more questions being asked. So the key is to focus on your consistency with what you're doing. Don't start doing something that you probably won't do for more than a couple months. So when you're focusing on your relationships and your actual conversations with people and you get consistent with that, that is the bedrock of a successful foundation for a business. All right, so let's talk about connecting. First one I want to highlight, speed to lead. You meet someone at an open house, a lead came into your account. Why is speed to lead important? Besides they're motivated and they want to go see something now.
If you don't, somebody else will.
Someone else will. If you got an internet lead into your account, you better believe that they're in everyone else's account here in the office. You know they're clicking on every link that they can see if they're interested in doing that. If they're walking into your open house without a real estate agent, are they walking into other open houses without a real estate agent? Absolutely. So you want to be fast with that, building the relationship. And so that's why when we're talking about how to convert a person, do we all have some real estate knowledge behind us? I would hope so. When a real estate agent sits down with a client, can we bet that they're going to be talking real estate with them? Absolutely. Can we bet, or do we know that they're actually connecting with them human to human? We don't know that. And we know when we talk to other real estate agents, that is a struggle for some people. It's a struggle for a lot of people. So when we are talking speed to lead, it's speed to the relationship. How can you ask enough questions? One, so much so that you show that you know what you're talking about, but two, you're actually making a human connection. I don't know if you guys know, but I have a real estate team, and we expanded from Sacramento to the Bay Area, and we have an agent on our team, and we've given that agent some at-bats for some listings. And the key thing that we see over and over and over again is there's no connection happening with the person on the other side. They know their stuff. They know what to say. But when that connection lacks and they're meeting with 4 other people and they may meld a little bit better with the other 4 people, your conversion rate goes down. Now, is your knowledge great? Yeah, it's fantastic. Did you use all the right questions? Oh, absolutely. You use all the right questions, but you lack the actual connection with the person. So when we talk speed to lead, it's get in relationship as quick as possible. Understand who their animals are. Understand what their motivation is, why they truly want to move to Sunnyvale from the condo that they live in San Jose. What's really, really important to them. Pre-qualifying, find motivation. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Whenever you get someone who is interested in doing something, never hesitate to pre-qualify them. And I'm not saying not to go on the appointment, but feel free, ask some questions. Hey, before we meet on Saturday, do you have 5 minutes so I can ask you a couple questions so that I'm better prepared for our conversation? Absolutely. Ask your pre-qualifying questions. And again, don't shy away from tough conversations. The true professionals in this business lean into those tough conversations. Now, you may be asking, Eric, where do I find pre-qualifying questions or these motivating questions? I will send you some if you really need some, but the internet is a beautiful place and it has a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
So you partly already answered my question. What kind of questions I include in pre-qualification, and what if they do not pre-qualify? Like John has a team, I can understand. So
Yeah.
it's a different person pre-qualifying, different person holding the consultation. If I'm a solo agent doing everything by myself, if I ask them pre-qualification questions and they do not pass my test, do I say, no, I'm not meeting you tomorrow anymore?
I never say no to an appointment. Now, someone who wants to build up your efficiency, it's what is your goal from the pre-qualification? I pre-qualify to have a higher level conversation. So when we go to sit down, I'm not pre-qualifying them before we get into the meat and potatoes of the actual meeting where I'm building a relationship. Now, if we're looking for efficiency, then yes, right? Your appointment book is filled with appointments, and you can't be meeting with Eric on Saturday when you're supposed to be going with the kids to the water park and doing X, Y, and Z, and you're just meeting this one person at 9 o'clock before you go, then maybe, yeah, you can turn it down. But if you're at the point where your appointment book is not filled with motivated people, I don't turn down at bats to talk with semi-motivated people. So as far as if they don't pre-qualify, the key thing when we're saying pre-qualified is, do I have, I'm pointing at Jan because he's former lender, now turned real estate mogul, right? Is there, what do I need to have when I meet with them? Do I need to have a lender already involved because they haven't gotten pre-qualified for a loan yet? Is there a property that they maybe need to sell before that happens? So I should be bringing a CMA. It's pre-qualifying as far as that's concerned. So the questions I'm asking are, do you have a home before you buy? Is there a house that you need to sell? I'm talking about different 1031 exchange, different things like that, if there's motivation into that. I'm talking to them about their motivation, timelines, you know. So you told me at the open house that you were looking for a 3-2, you know, around 1,200 square feet in this neighborhood. If it was outside of that neighborhood, would that be a deal breaker for you? I'm asking questions like that, and I'm going 3D. So tell me why Sunnyvale again. I know you mentioned a little bit, but tell me more about what's important about Sunnyvale. And I'm going a little bit further into that. So then when I sit down in person with them, I'm really understanding already where they're at. It's like old friends now who are chatting. Alexis, do you know anything about as far as like some of the questions you guys ask for pre-qualifying?
No, he hasn't told me.
Okay, but essentially the questions we asked, it was all around, do you know where you want to go? So it's talking about the motivation of what they're trying to identify, the location, you know, you kind of do the LP Mama, location, price, motivation. And then I'm really finding out, are they pre-qualified for a loan, and do we need to get that set up before we meet? So there's pre-qualifying, are they qualified to purchase a house right now? And then there's pre-qualifying, and I really call it more of the finding the motivation, is to what are they about? What do they want to do? So that when I do have my in-person meeting, we can truly build rapport, and it's not me, okay, yes, tell me more about what you're looking for in Sunnyvale. That's a good, you're getting some good questions there, but you know you could be doing so much more when you finally got that face-to-face. So I try to get some of the nitty-gritty down to a phone conversation or just a text or email to find out more info so that I'm more prepared when I meet with them. Does that work?
Thank you.
Active listening. Who prides themselves on their active listening? Do you find that people compliment you because you heard something that they say, oh, I didn't even know you heard that, and it goes a long way, right? When it comes to building, you want to give any tips as far as what you do to active, like to be present when someone is talking?
I would say just be in that moment. Don't be thinking something else. If you're doing something, do it 100% or don't do it.
Yeah.
Same goes for listening. And sometimes you hear between the lines, some things, and then bring them back, when it's really needed, and the person is least expecting it, that leaves a lasting impression on them.
Hearing those little details. Yeah. Like a dog name, when someone refers to their dog at all multiple times, you know, you better write that sucker down, and that's gonna be something you wanna reference over and over again. Simran.
Actually, that also helps you to frame future questions related to that conversation.
Mhm.
So it keeps that dialogue going versus a monologue.
Yes.
So you can say, hey, I was just curious, what was that about? Or then you have them talking more and now you get to listen even more.
Does anyone have things they do to make sure they're actively listening? Because I mean, I'm sure we've all done it. I do it constantly. Someone starts talking and you have the answer ready to go. It's right there. It's right there. And you're like, oh, you're still going, okay, I just want to get that answer out. Does anyone have anything that they do to kind of sit back, be present, you know, putting your phone down, having your phone in your pocket, different things like that? I'll tell you what mine is. Yeah.
I've just learned it, with experience being an instructor, that listening is so very important.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to Clara, I come with a plan, and so over the years I've learned, like, I do not come with a rigid plan. This is what I wanna force onto my students. No, I come with like very flexible plan, and then listen to the students and their requirements actively and modify my plan and adapt on the fly, and that has worked out wonders for me.
You can't give the same thing to everybody, right? And definitely you treat people as individuals. So my thing is, I run my nails through my other nails. I don't know what you call that, but I'll sit there and I'll do this to make sure that I'm just sitting and I'm focused on you. I will lean on the table in front of me and I'll put my hands together and I'll stare intently, you know, back at them. When you're at an open house, do you have this? So we're having a conversation and you see all these people walking right here. Do you do this? Right? And look all over the place. So you want to focus on the person in front of you, and it shows respect to the other side that they know that you're actively listening to them. And so I use my fingers to tell me, I see everything going on in my peripheral right now, but I'm focused right here. So it's something, again, you're taking away from the words and you're showing more body language and different ways that this is a relationship that I'm trying to build right here.
So, yeah, open house, like when it gets really busy, it's a little tricky, because at the same time that you want to focus and give attention and give respect to the person who's talking to you, you also want to create an initial connection with the person who's walking in, kind of greet them, so that they don't feel like they are just like, oh no, he's not going to talk to me. Especially when meeting an Indian talking to somebody who walked in as an Indian, and somebody else who's a non-Indian who walks in, and I don't even look at them. That's not going to send out a good message. So I make sure I greet everyone and then get back to them. If I still have, and if they have a question, I'll say, excuse me, let me answer this question. I'll get right back to you. But the busier it gets, the more challenging it gets.
Yeah. I'm going to argue with Deepak right now. It's not an argument. It's more of a preference, right? And you have to, everyone here is an individual. You do things the way you want to do it. So part of you came to you were at the open house class thing that I did, elevating your open houses. Yeah. And so that's where I think when you lean more on the other aspects of your open house, the welcome mat, the food being there, a big sign that says what to do, please sign in, the seller request, different stuff like that. You're able to take some of the pressure off of you for the having to be the welcoming committee every time that someone comes in. This was shared I heard this again at family reunion this year, and this was something that we always heard from top producers when they do their open houses. They realize that they're not going to connect with everybody, and you're not going to have a connection with everybody. And the goal from you pick, what do you want to convert from the open house? My goal at every open house is I want to get one appointment from the open house. So if I get one appointment, I know that was successful 3 hours spent on that time for my day. So there was this gal where she took it a step further at Mega Camp, where she said she doesn't even have anyone sign in, doesn't use sign-in sheets whatsoever. And when she has that connection, she doesn't break it. Like where you have to use your intuition and I would say experience helps with that, where you know this person's not BSing you, but they focus in on that. Because I've had several instances where I'll break it, right? You do, just give me 1 second. And then I go talk here and then I turn back around and where are they at? They're over here now. They're touching other stuff. So do what feels right to you. And it's always going to be tricky. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's always a double-edged sword. But that's just a couple perspectives on making sure that it has to be a quality experience when people come into the open house. Otherwise, they're already judging you when they came into the open house. Did you see that guy? He didn't even acknowledge us when we walked into the open house whatsoever. So everything goes both ways, and you're not going to please everybody. Never going to happen. So yeah, very tricky. Identify their problem. Identifying their problem. Tell me what's.
I think people are very, like the way I'm seeing them, maybe I'm just prospectively saying that, but you have to have a lot of conversation with them to really understand what their, what the pain points are. They will never tell you on the surface. You'll have to scratch maybe a little bit more and still more. And then even then you're not quite you probably get the tip of the iceberg at the most.
Yeah. It's always going to take, especially when they give you the tip of the iceberg of the problem, it's going to take more questions then to really uncover, right, that fossil that's really at the bottom there. The thing I find with that, and we're going to talk about this, is open-ended questions. Open-ended questions help identify problems much, much quicker than anything else. You can dance around the question, right? But they'll always find a way out of it by yes or no, if they're allowed to go yes or no.
Yeah.
My favorite question to ask is, how has the real estate search process been for you so far? Right? What do they usually lean on immediately? They either go, oh, it's been fine, right? And then the next question after that is, oh, great. So you guys have identified some homes, you put some offers in, or it's been a pain. We haven't got any offers accepted, or we just can't find anything that's right in the right price point. So you really want to make sure open-ended questions are something you're skilled with. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. But identifying problems so that you can then solve those problems is an absolute key to conversion. If you're just servicing people just like everyone else services them, I remember I think I've told you guys this before, but my first listing appointment that I got from like a lead from my website, it was the weirdest call. You know how you get those calls that say, hey, Raymond, are you still active in the real estate market and taking new clients? Yes. So lucky that you called me today. Yeah, great. We're selling. Usually they tell you we're going to sell you leads. So I got a call like that. And I thought it was BS the entire time, but it turned out I was actually a motivated seller. And they lined up 8 people to meet with. And this was my first listing appointment that I was going on solo. So I go and meet with them, have my presentation done. Guess what number I was? I was number 8. And I think being number 8 works when you're skilled. Being 8 does not work when it's your first listing appointment and you're just trying to make friends with everybody. So I go on that appointment and I did a great job of going over the presentation. I gave them all the info they could possibly need. And they said, you said everything that every other agent said. So now what am I doing? Now I've just put myself as I'm on the board, just like everybody else. There was no actual personal connection made. I sounded great. I know how to get a house sold. So does Deepak, right? So does everyone else that they met. They show up and they know how to do the dance. So it sounds like you can do that. Identifying their problems. And so the thing I would have said, and I asked everything now. So in the past presentations that you've heard from real estate agents, what was something that was lacking? And I don't say, was there anything lacking? I say, what was something that was lacking? Give me a specific so that I can identify, again, where they saw pain points, right? So make sure you're identifying problems. And if you don't feel like anyone has a problem, they got cash coming out their ears, they have plenty of properties to pick from, they don't really need a real estate agent, there's a problem in there. You just have to find it. There's a reason they're there without a real estate agent. And then you guys have heard me talk about this quite a bit. I would hope you've heard me drill it into your brain. This is my simple, again, I oversimplify everything. This is my simple formula for building trust with people. Be authentically yourself. Be valid, bring data, understand the marketplace. Do not think you can show up and be the best personality and still be able to convert, because you still need to know what we're talking about, what you're talking about when it comes to the conversion. And then I think one of the more important ones is empathy. Do we have people who think we are just used car salespeople? Absolutely. When they come into that open house and they tell you, I'd love to work with you, I trust you, we have a good connection, but these 2 other real estate agents are going to give me 1% back or half their commission back. Would you do the same thing? They don't think you're going to have empathy. They don't think you're actually going to care about them and actually help them find the perfect house for them. They think you're a checkout person at Walmart at that point. You're just there to provide a service, get some contracts signed. I'll identify the property. There's nothing else really to it. So when you're hitting on these 3 points, you're building trust with people. They feel like they're getting the authentic you. You show your validity in the marketplace and that you understand what you're talking about. Have empathy. That, again, this is identifying their problem. Show them that you truly care about getting this deal done for them and helping them identify their property. Now, could this be answering the phone at 10 o'clock? Could this be letting them spout out for 30 minutes, venting to you about how tough the market is? Yes, it absolutely could be. So identify how you can show that empathy and that you actually care about them, but it goes into your customer service. It goes into, your value proposition and how you show up to people. So you're hitting these 3 points, you're building trust with people. All right. So we talked about this a little bit. Playing the long game and build lasting relationships. Deepak, give me the notes from your meeting.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. I think too many times we just focus on the one transaction and we're not playing the long game with that. I've had multiple people who have ended up buying or selling with someone else the first time, but then the second time around, because they had a bad experience, they've come back to me because I build lasting relationships. So gather important details. Now we just talked about it, what Travis shared. The full name, obviously. Second one on there, kids' names and ages. Now, the ages can be a little bit of a tougher one. You want to be very, very careful when you're talking about other people's kids. We are in a day and age where you have no idea the monsters and different things that are out there. So some people are very defensive about talking about their kids or sharing any information about their kids. Did anyone watch the HBO special on Jared, the Subway guy? You guys know Jared, the Subway guy? Turned out to be a pedophile. You guys remember the guy who lost a bunch of weight for Subway?
It was psycho.
It was insane,
Crazy.
this thing. And now that I have a kid, I definitely look at it a little bit differently. But the things he was saying, it was, he wants to know the kids' names. He wants, show me pictures of the kids, right? That sounds harmless enough. So you just want to be careful and be respectful when we're talking about other people's kids. Have it try to come up organically in the conversation. But don't press to, and don't you don't want to go checklist item. Okay, so tell me your kids' names. And how old are those kids, right? You really want to be, hey, Locke. You really want to be organic when it comes to talking about people's kids. Go a step further than the animal that they have. What's the animal's name? That you go for, right? No one's going to be shy to tell you about little Fufu or I love it when they have real human names. Those are my favorite. Anniversaries, like Travis was saying, don't just do home anniversary. Go for their wedding anniversary. Important dates that mean something to them. Okay. So now I lost my dad when I was 17 or 18 years old. My girlfriend lost her mom when she was the almost exact same age. We have 2 totally different reactions to the day that they pass, as far as when it comes up every year. For me, it's another day of the year. I don't have an emotional response to it. It's not a day that I sit and think about my dad or anything like that. For my girlfriend, I better freaking acknowledge it, right? So when you find with your clients that there are days that mean something to them, right? They have life events like that every year, They think about how powerful would it be if you called and said, or texted, hey, I know this is the day that your mom passed last year or several years ago. So I just want to say I'm thinking about you while you're thinking about your mom today, right? That goes a long, long way. So think of important dates like that. Their dreams. What do they want to do? Let them think, let them be vulnerable with you. This kind of comes into the empathy. When you're asking those questions and you're able to really break down the barrier from just, I'm a transactional agent and I'm here to help you buy and sell a house. That's what I'm here to do. And you're breaking into that zone of really caring about somebody. You're understanding what their dreams are, where they would want a vacation, right? You see, again, this is where social media comes into play. Do a little bit of snooping, for safety reasons, I always check out my appointments, their social media accounts to see what's going on, and it brings a connection when you have the meeting. So one of the things I always do before I meet with a prospective agent that we're bringing to the company or someone that I was meeting with to help them do a purchase or sell a house is I always scope out their social media and I find out things like, did you just vacation in Tahiti? And I'll ask, hey, I saw on your social media, and don't be afraid of the friend request, right? Don't be one of those creepers that I just snooped all your stuff, but then I didn't actually engage and send you a friend request. Send the friend request and say, I saw that you were in Tahiti. Tell me about that. What are they going to do? Are they going to go, yeah, it was good. And if they do, what does it tell you? You haven't built the relationship yet. But what do most people do? Oh my gosh, let me tell you about Tahiti. It was amazing. And feed into that. So do you usually go to tropical places when you vacation, or are you always or do you always do tropical, or is that kind of something out of the norm for you? Oh yeah, we like to go camping, take the kids, do this, do that. This is all vital information for connection, which helps with that conversion. Work. So when we were talking about converting business, and Deepak just left, but when we're talking about converting business from your sphere of influence and finding the motivation without finding the motivation. When I call you, we're friends, or we live next to each other, whatever it may be, and I ask you about work, what are you going to ask me?
How's your work?
You're going to ask me about work, right? You're going to start asking questions. And whenever there's motivation there, you can tell by the conversation that we're having in that spot. The other thing that I would say to that, and Deepak actually is really good about this. So Deepak helped an agent out and did not take a commission with this agent to help them sell a house in Cupertino. The reason he did that is he felt like he had tons of people in his database from Cupertino and he wanted an excuse to call them and let them know something that's coming up on the market. So I always recommend, when it comes to anyone in your sphere of influence, you see deals, off markets. We're sitting around here. You hear that Alan has something coming up in Sunnyvale. Call your database and say, hey, I know you may not be looking, but one of your friends or family members may be looking, and it's tough to find a house out there right now. I know of a house coming up in Sunnyvale. Let me know if you or anyone else wants to get in there before anyone else. Now, if you're doing that for your database, what are they always thinking then? Eric knows the inside. Eric is always, one, they love it, right? Because they're showing that you're caring about them. But two, you're showing your validity that you have stuff that's coming on the market before anyone knows about it. So if you're constantly doing those little deposits into your sphere of influence, it's going to be an organic, natural way of doing it. Now, again, like I said, there's always going to be people who don't want to mix personal with business, and that happens. Don't be afraid of it. It's all right. And then, like we talked about, their likes and their interests. Always put that in there. And we'll talk more about why that's important. All right, so asking open-ended questions. We talked about this a little bit earlier. The benefits of it, building trust. When you're asking these open-ended questions, it builds trust. Why does it build trust? Because you're getting deeper into dialogue with them. If we're just going yes, no, back and forth, there is no actual trust that's being built. You're servicing them, right? Think about when you go to a used car lot, or you go anywhere that's transactional. It's a bunch of yes, no questions. Do you like this color? What about this color? How about this size of a car? You're not digging deeper. So get out of, I'm just selling this house. You're really buying the relationship. Number two, demonstrates real interest. You're really getting motivation when you're asking open-ended questions. Can they answer open-ended questions with one-word answers and yeses and nos? Absolutely, they can figure that. They can figure that out. And when that's happening, again, there's either no connection there or there is no real motivation there. They really are just at that open house because they're walking the neighborhood or whatever it may be. So make sure you're doing that to really gauge motivation. And then this is the most important one, gives you more insights and quality data. We were talking, taking the notes and putting into command. This quality data that you get from the open-ended questions is your firepower, like someone was saying, when you're having your next conversation with them. And everyone loves when they give answers and then you bring those answers up into another statement that you're making later about that. So again, these are very simple things. They're not easy to do because we tend to just lean into closed questions. And you'll see next here, actually, I'll show you here. There's way more words on this side. We love to say is, do, would, could, was. A lot of scripts actually end up having those that I've seen, end up having those words on the right. Now, the three words you want to love and lean into, what, why, and how. Now, why sometimes can be taken defensively. Sometimes you want to stay away from why. But what and how always lead to an open-ended answer so that they can give you quality. Here's an example of it. Do you have any questions? That's a yes or no, right? Versus, what questions can I answer for you? Now, could they say none? Absolutely, they could say none. And it's much more inviting to actually give a response of, you actually have answered everything for me here today. I feel good. Or at this moment, I don't have anything to ask. Do you have any questions? That's a yes or no question. Any questions on this? See, close-ended. Do you guys find yourself doing this? Yeah. So like I was talking to you about your open house, right? Before we're going to have conversations with people, just grab 5. Figure out 5 open-ended questions that you can use throughout a conversation and work it into what you're doing. Don't try to think of every script. Don't try to, you can walk by it, don't worry. I wanted to see you army crawl on the ground. Don't think of a huge, how can I figure out the whole conversation before I have the whole conversation? Just think of 5. You're going to give your authentic self, right? It's organic, we're having conversation, boom, open-ended question. Organic, respond to what they're talking about, boom, open-ended question. And also open-ended questions are great for reigniting a conversation as well that you've seen kind of fall flat. All right, online presence. This to me is the biggest one with where we are at today, and I'll show you stats as to why that is. Do you Google yourself? Google yourself, yeah. There's an Eric Bradley, just so you know who he's big in the music world. I found out, yeah. What do you find when you Google yourself?
I'm just seeing what other people will see when they look my name up. And because I have so many different channels that I work in, that sometimes people will not even know that I'm the same person managing different channels.
Yeah.
But some people get smart. They know that was the person's full name, and then they'll kind of put the dots together. So it's hard, but I want to see what is out there.
Yeah. No, it's and do you do that to other people? When you hear about a business, someone, whatever it may be, you're watching a movie, whatever it is, you go right to Google. We all go right to Google. So everyone's doing that to you as well. And that's okay. But you need to make sure that when you're Googled, something comes up. Yes, Google yourself right now. So make sure when people are Googling you, things come up. And this goes into mastering SEO. Now, we have people smarter than I am who can help you with SEO and really explaining what it is. But essentially, search engine optimization, when they Google you, are the right things coming to the top of the page. And it all goes back to what content you have inside of your websites and how Google is helping funnel that to the top because they know people love those keywords. So make sure you are putting some money, if you're doing the very least, right? You put all this effort into either paying for leads, talking to your database, building the database, doing open houses. You put in all this effort. The best thing you can do is have something when you left a flyer on their doorstep, they're not going to call you right away. They're not going to email you right away. They're going to Google you first to make sure you're not a weirdo. Okay? Create video content. Why do you think you need to create video content? And I'll even say, besides the fact that social media and the internet loves video content and pushes all that forward, why do you think video content versus just using your new Threads account, your new Meta Threads account, and just putting a bunch of cool verbiage in there?
I think it shows people the fun side of you, or just a lot of your body language. It tells them that you're not just in a boxed out real estate compartment. It shows them that you're very personable, you're very human, you're very out there, you're extrovert, doing XYZ with fun, family, friends, whatever.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's all, Go ahead.
A face to your page.
yeah.
So that kind of a thing.
Exactly. We're in the day and age where everything is text, everything is pictures, everything is video online. But when we actually hear a video, we are seeing and feeling that personality. And whether you like it or not, you're actually building rapport. They're building rapport with you as they're watching it. They know what to expect when they meet with you. Before you meet with someone, right? Maybe you're going to meet a new doctor, right? And you do some Googling, right? You don't lie. You know, you go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be to see what's up with whoever you're about to meet, because you want to get a feeling for how that person's going to be in person. We all want that. It's a safety thing that we do because now we have access to that. So the best thing you could do is start making some videos. Keep them short. They don't have to be long, but make some videos so people get that personality. When they start Googling you or going to Facebook or going to Instagram, they can hear your voice so they know what to expect. The other thing, oh gosh, I had it. I lost it. I'll get it. It'll come back. And then leverage social media. So we were talking about social media, hooking those people on social media. Social media does more than just give you videos, give you text and things like that. It is your friend, because the more you use it, those dirty little companies push your stuff to the top. So the more you're engaging with other people's stuff and the more you're putting content out there, the more Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, they're pushing it all to the top. They want people engaging with it. So you notice sometimes you'll have you'll make a post on Facebook. I think this has happened to everybody. And you'll post something and it will get a couple likes. And then you'll post something else and it will get a ton of likes. You know, does anyone have that happen? Like where you have like the like disparity at all? Yeah. The reason for that is like a snowball effect. If you have slow likes to begin, right? So first couple people scroll through your stuff, they don't engage with it. So Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, are going to go, okay, not putting this in front of as many people. But then you post something, you get 10 likes right away, snowball effect. They start pushing it into everyone's feed that's in your social groups. So that's why, and we'll talk about content in a second. That's why the content that you're putting out there, you have to be cognizant of it, and you want it to be easy things that people can engage with. You guys have seen people post on Facebook, and I see that it's just mostly real estate agents who do this, but where it'll say, what are you doing for the 4th of July, right? Again, open-ended question to put on social media so that you get people engaging with it. I'm going to a barbecue, right? Someone comments on it, social media goes, oh, that's great. We want to put this in front of other people that to get engagement with it. So that's where leveraging social media, I say leverage the algorithm. YouTube is a fantastic one right now. So many people are cutting cable. So many people are cutting cable. And we see more and more of these companies like your Hulu's, Disney, they went all out in creating content, spending tons of money. Netflix spent billions of dollars on content. The reason They did that is because they know that that's where people are flooding to. They're moving away from cable. Same thing is going on with YouTube right now. Tons of people are engaging in YouTube and watching content on YouTube. So when you're putting the stuff out on YouTube, again, YouTube rewards the ones who are doing it consistently. There's a gentleman by the name, and I'll just tell you his name. His name is Jason Walters in Sacramento. He was an agent with KW. And we went to multiple events together. And if I told you this guy had no personality, I would be giving him a compliment. He had zero personality. Jason started creating videos. Now Jason gets 30,000 people watching his videos almost daily. And he's not making breaking videos. He's making market update videos. He's taking hot topics that are going on in the marketplace, and he's creating videos for them. Now, does he start to gain followers? Yes, again, that snowballs, absolutely. And that first starts with doing videos consistently, following the process, and just having your stuff get into line with people. So the reason I say leverage social media is this is going to bring validity to who you are and what you do, and that helps with conversion. You only have so much time to talk with people. Who loves talking on the phone? I knew you were going to raise your hand. I was sitting here thinking Simran's going to raise her hand right now. You definitely seem like someone who does that. But when you look at people who just raise their hand, right? It's about 1 out of every blank, right? It's not a ton of people who like to sit on the phone. Everyone moves towards texting and even just engaging on social media. Just DM me, right? If it's words, you're about it. Oh, Tomas, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, Tomas knows exactly what I'm talking about. I love it. He knows Jason Walter. So we don't love talking on the phone. I forgot where I was going with that. We don't love talking on the phone, and we may only get a couple chances to engage these people. They came in on your website, you met them at the open house, but we know that we can capture them in social media. We can still engage them and get in front of them on social media. And we know if someone's either in an open house or it's an internet lead or if it's sphere of influence. Again, we're playing the long game. Are you going to get some people who it's boom, 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 they're motivated, they're going now, you don't have that much time to be able to convert? Absolutely. That's going to happen. But when we're playing the long game, social media helps expand that out so that you can reach more and more people, again, to when it does come time for that motivated to actually do something, they feel more comfortable with you because they engage in your content, they see your videos, they know who you are when you're talking with them. All right. This goes back to the effort that you put in. Now, yes.
But somebody said that his videos are awesome, but so boring. So is that a good thing?
That's the Jason,
Yeah.
Jason, yeah, exactly.
Boring videos? I mean, how does that engage?
Well, because that's where I'm telling you that YouTube will do it for you. They'll put it in front of people. Yeah. He gives I mean, quality, he gives good video, the good information he's giving you, right? Like if you're not knowledgeable about the market, like, you know, when I watch a video update on the market update, I'm like, yeah. Like I'm just paying attention to their personality. Are they making me laugh, right? All he does is he has great thumbnails. So they're very engaging thumbnails. So that's one thing I would say. You don't want to just let them give you a thumbnail of you act like talking and faces like that. Like you actually put a quality thumbnail in there that it's something that it will engage, right? And you see the quality thumbnails now where someone's like, and it's pointing to a little excerpt that says like, is the market tanking, right? So it's, he does that very, very well. But when you get into the video, 9 times out of 10, he's sitting on his couch with the same background every time, right? There's nothing dynamic about it to where it doesn't make me want to go watch his videos anymore. There's a guy named Ken Pozak. You can watch the difference between the two. So look up Jason Walters and look up Ken Pozak. Ken Pozak is a 300, probably even more at this point, $1 million producer from Florida, Orlando. And what he does is he creates experience videos about what to do in Orlando. And he talks about the marketplace too, but he creates these experience videos and he has great cut scenes and, you know, uses tricks with the cameras and stuff like that. Way more engaging, way more engaging and much more attracting as far as like, I want to be like him, or I want to engage with someone like him. I would watch Jason Walters' video for the knowledge he puts out there, but it doesn't attract me to him as far as a magnet. So testimonials. Reason testimonials, we're going to talk about why they're so important. We talk about trust. And what's crazy to me is testimonials build trust. We do it all day, every day. Who has looked up reviews for a restaurant? So what don't we look up reviews for anymore? We look up reviews for everything. And there are times we don't even read the reviews, right? Before I buy this shirt, I'm reading, right? I'm big. So I want to make sure, like, it says that it's a 2XL, but if I go in there and someone says like, I bought a 2XL and it's too tight on me, I'm like, oh, okay, not buying the shirt, right? So you're always looking at reviews constantly. The same thing goes for you. And this data is, I mean, it's crazy. 90% of customers read online reviews before visiting a business. 90%. 90%. That is a lot of people. Now, I haven't closed the transaction yet, so how can I get a testimonial? Go to your friends and family. Get them the right testimonials for you. It works. Trust me. I've closed several transactions, but no one's written me a testimonial. That's great. Go back to those people, ask them if they'll write a testimonial, offer them a gift card for doing so. It is completely worth the investment to get these testimonials. So just like when they Google you and they want to see your info online and make sure that you're actually doing something, they also want to see that people are engaging with you. Radha Rastagi dominates with this. She does so well, and she uses Yelp to be able to build her business as well. So we're gonna say something?
Actually, we do a lot of this as well in our team.
Oh yeah.
But we're taking it to the next level where we are now interacting with our testimonials. So we're responding back saying, hey, thank you for your wonderful, kind words. We really appreciate working with you. You were a joy to interact with also.
Fantastic.
And we are a great partner team.
Yeah.
So now, well, when they will say like 3 paragraphs, we're responding back with 1 paragraph. But when they see us in person in our events, they come right to us and say, you know what? I never had people respond to the review that we wrote in.
Yeah.
And then you guys are doing that. So when we create a dialogue there too. So now other people who are reading us are saying, look at these people, like, you know, there's a whole relation right there.
And even if there's a not great review, right? Maybe you got three stars or 4 stars instead of 5. And it says, I wish we would have got a higher price for our property, right? Or it took so long to find a house. And you go with the empathy, and you say something underneath it. There was a stat, I don't have it in this presentation here. But it did say that people are more likely to engage in a business that actually responds to their reviews and responds to the negative ones as well. Don't just let that sit there and say like, screw that person. Engage with them. 88% of customers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. What if I told you that you could get referrals from the internet today just by using testimonials? That's what it's telling you. Pretend your database is the people who you've used, it is your database, but your sphere of influence, when they're putting that stuff online, it's just like they're talking to those people on the phone. You got to use Priyanka. You got to. This is why. So they trust it. 88%. Those are staggering numbers. Not talking 50% of consumers, which would still be good. 88% trust those online reviews. 72% say that a positive review will make them trust the local business more. So make sure you're getting positive reviews. You always should be worried about that. 92% of users will use a local business if it has at least 4-star rating. I don't know about you guys, but that's my threshold.
Yeah.
When it's just under 4 stars, then I go, all right, I gotta really look into this company. When it's 4 stars and up, I'm like, I trust it. We're great here. I move forward, right? So to me, this is spot on. Except when I'm choosing someone Chinese told me this, that if you're choosing a Chinese restaurant, you only want the ones that are 3.5 stars, because you're gonna get better authentic food. Like, they may not engage with you when you walk through the door, but you're gonna get good food that way. Yeah, so thought that was interesting. 72% percent of customers will take action only after reading one positive review. So again, even if you just have one, that's okay. Put it out there. All right. I can't hear the sound. I think everyone else can, Barbara.
I can hear it now. I refreshed. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, be where they are, volunteer in the community. So if you're doing farming or anything like that, get into spaces where you know these people are going to be. That's going to lead to more conversions, or conversations. That's going to lead to conversions for you. Let's say you do an open house in a neighborhood, or you see something that someone's going to be doing online. I have gotten in the path of where they were going to be. I had multiple people who were going to an event. And I then sent out a random message to people that said, hey, I was going to that same event. Let me know if anyone else is going. And they were like, oh, I'm actually going to that event. And I was able to meet with someone it was at a art and wine thing in Sacramento. And I connected with, it was a $1.2 million, it was specifically for this $1.2 million purchase in Sacramento. And I connected with them there and I hung out with them. I know their dogs, I know all that stuff. So I knew that I could do that, but you want to get in front of people. So meet them where they're at, volunteer in the community, build community around like interests. So if you love going dirt bike riding, you love crocheting, you love water polo, you love basketball, whatever it may be, you can build a community. If you have a lot of people in your database, Deepak is a perfect example. This is going to lead to more conversion because you are building a solid foundation where you guys have like interests. When you have like interests, what do you have to do at that point? You're just showing your validity then. And after you show your validity, then it's that much easier to be able to convert them into actual business and engage them, invite them to events that they enjoy. Now, I met you at an open house. Simran, we were talking and I said, oh, no one else is in the open house. Where are you guys coming from today? Oh, we just got back from soccer practice, right? Or we just came from this, or we're going to this, or someone's leaving the open house and they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to X, Y, and Z, right? So they have those interests. Send those invites to those people. Say, hey, I have free tickets to go to blank. Would you like to go? So obviously you don't want to do that with just people who you maybe met once or anything like that, but someone that you've been working with. But again, when we're talking about how we can make that connection with people, invest in them, give them the things that they want to be a part of. All right. So to me, this is the most important one when we're talking about social media and we're talking about following up, right? Because the game is follow up. We know we're going to meet them at the open house. The likelihood that they transact in just the next week or so, I don't want to say are slim, but we know more and more of it is going to be follow-up, especially in this marketplace where there's low inventory. Okay, so we know we're playing the long game. Send them what they want and like to engage with. So we were talking, Priyanka asked, what am I putting on social media to get people to engage with it? Now, I listen to a podcast pretty much every morning called Morning Brew. And on this podcast, they talk about a variety of topics, but they're always pretty interesting topics. Now, I'm drinking a Diet Coke. Did anyone hear in the news that Diet Coke, was essentially, they were saying that it was pretty much, they couldn't say it was carcinogenic, that, this leads to cancer. Did anyone see that in the news? Yeah. So if people who are Diet Coke drinkers, those are attention grabbers, right? So when we're sending emails out, again, we want engagement. We want to interact with them constantly. Who's had the people at open houses and you met with them and you set the appointment, they didn't show up to the appointment, and now they're not answering any of your text messages? We all would be raising our hand because that is a lot of people. So all you need is just a little bit of movement on the other side to show that there is a pulse and that they're reading what you're sending them, and it's something that they would be interested in talking about. So there are times you have to take it off the trail and move away from just engaging in transactional conversation. And now you're moving towards things that are attention grabbers, hot topic, hot things of the moment that may be interesting to them. We were talking about the Bank of America, right? Different things like that. So again, so that you can build that rapport. Now, this is always going to come down to the questions and asking the right questions when it comes to really closing. But what we want here is when we're playing the long game, or we're trying to convert people into business, and we're not using our unique value propositions, right? We ran through it. We asked them if they had off-market properties, if they wanted any of our off-market properties. They're, forget the people who are asking for a discount or just wanted everything cheaper. You're trying to think of ways to set that hook in. You're sending them market updates, right? Everyone's sending them market updates. You got to think of a different way, different avenue to get into them. Active listening helps with that. But really, when you're active listening, you are just focused on their interest in what's important to them. Show your market knowledge. This one is, I think, the most important in the sense that you do the 80-20 principle. Okay. Social media, you want only 20% to be about business. The other 80% is your personal, your fun, your authenticity, right? Who you are. But when we're talking about your follow-up and email content, things like that, 80% real estate, market knowledge, 20% other things that they could engage with. Fun stuff going on in the area. Hey, Diet Cokes give you cancer, right? Different things that are going to engage them. So you want to pay attention to the 80-20 principle when it comes to that. But do not be afraid, and do not be afraid to show your personality, but you have to show your market knowledge and that you know what you're talking about. And that's where I also think videos really come into play, because they can hear your confidence, right? We're talking about confidence when you speak. If they hear your confidence when you're talking about the marketplace and you're not just reading stats off of a piece of paper, again, you're showing that validity. And then show your personality. Do not be afraid to show your personality. That is going to be what is going to convert more and more people, because people buy into personalities that they're meeting with. I was reading this, I think it was just a paper that someone was sending me on CEOs and CEOs' ability to turn a business around or get the most success out of their business. And one of the things that came back as the most important as far as the CEO being able to connect with their team, get buy-in from the team, and move the team forward was their personality. Mm-hmm. So you have to show your personality through your lead generation, through your engagement, through whatever it is that you're doing. Your personality has to shine through. If you're not showing your personality through it, you're Zillow at that point, who is just sending market stats. Does Zillow have personality? No. So you have to bring the human side in, because we know that's how you're going to endear them in their soft spot. Market of the moment. Okay. So we know the Fed was meeting today or tomorrow, I believe, to talk about interest rates. I don't know if they've already said that or not, but that's market of the moment right now stuff. If you know the Fed is meeting to talk about interest rates going forward, that should be the next thing that you're sending out immediately. Hey, everyone said this is supposedly the last one for this year, supposedly. So hey, everyone, last time Fed's meeting, this is what they told us. They're going to be raising interest rates a couple points, whatever it may be. But focus on market of the moment stuff, so that your clients aren't just reading headlines. If they're just focused on headlines, they're probably 2 to 3 months behind everything. So focus on market of the moment stuff. Create call to actions or MOFRs. Make offer for immediate response. This is doing a CMA a day kind of thing, right? So going to random people in your database, in your sphere, providing them a CMA, just randomly. They didn't ask for it, just giving it to them. When you do flyer drop-offs or anything like that, what's the call to action on there? Is it just market stats, or what's the reason that they would be reaching out to you for? It could be for a CMA. It could be to find off-market properties. But you need to make sure that when you're engaging with people, leaving marketing behind, things like that, what is your call to action? Why am I calling for out there, right? Why am I engaging with you? Know your value proposition. We were talking about confidence. I think this goes back into confidence, but know why people want to work with you. And when you have that confidence on your inside, it shows in your dialogue when you're talking to people. Now, could any of us pretty much get a house sold in this market right now? Yeah. If you have a license, access to a lockbox, heck, you don't even need a lockbox right now. You got a sign you can put in the yard. Heck, you don't even need a sign to put it in the yard. You have access to a nice photographer who, some nerd who has a drone who will fly it over. You get a house sold, right? You put it on the MLS. The MLS sends that data out to everywhere now. It used to be a value proposition that you can syndicate to all these different sites. Now, anyone does that. Everywhere does that. So anyone can get a house sold. So what separates you? How are you any different? Get down to what separates you. And it could be something as simple as I door knock around when you're looking for a home and we don't have inventory. I go find the inventory for you. I go create that inventory. I circle dial around neighborhoods, or I door knock around neighborhoods. Things like that. Make sure that you know what separates you from Joe Schmo that they just talked to or met at the other open house. It could be your personality too, right? Absolutely. But use it to your advantage, because we know that everyone's going to say pretty much the same thing. So what separates you from everybody else? Okay. And this is the end. Close. Ask for the business. The business will not come to you. So make sure you're having a great dialogue. And I cannot tell you my first couple of years, I mean, still happens, right? I still do it now when I meet with agents that are at their brokerages and I want them to join over here. Someone closed himself yesterday for me. And I was like, oh, okay, I should have closed. Like you were ready to go. You want to sign the paperwork. So make sure you are closing and don't be afraid about it. Don't feel like you're being pushy on the other side. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Now, can you close too early?
Yeah.
You can close too early. Yeah, that happens. Absolutely. So could you be more skilled in understanding when is it time to close? Sure, absolutely. But know what you're closing for. If I met you at an open house, all I'm closing for is an appointment. Let me get another chance to talk to you and really share with what I have to offer you. You're not closing for the transaction at that point. When you're at the appointment, then you're closing for the relationship, right? So there are tons of times where I've seen people, and again, like I was telling you, I'm an offender of this. Make sure you're closing and you're not just having fantastic dialogue with people. I know relatively new, but I can't tell you how many times, actually I can, it's 4. There have been 4 times where I thought I was in rapport. We're good to go. And I was in rapport. Rapport was strong, but I was not in rapport in the sense that I was telling them I'm the realtor for you to use. I was in rapport because we had great lives and I would send them things. Everything was great and golden and hunky-dory. But then they said, yeah, we found a house yesterday and we put an offer in. Because someone picked up the phone and they were aggressive, or they walked into an open house and that realtor said, hey, absolutely, we can write an offer for this house right now. So none of this matters. None of this rapport building matters if you are afraid to close. Now, what I'll do is put your emails into the, oh heck, I'll just send it out to everybody. So I'll send you some closing lines. But it is very important that you are not afraid to close for the relationship and close to do business with these people. If you are timid around it, it's a no already, right? Didn't even matter in the first place. So you cannot have that fear of closing. Now, are there better closing lines than others? Sure, in some cases, yes. And not asking the fact that it's a no in the first place. So don't worry too much around what it is you're saying. But asking the questions around, are you ready to write an offer? Can I take you to this home to go show you this house right now? Would you like to go see this property? Why don't we get the paperwork started? Right? These are not, and again, you can be too pushy. And so you have to use your actual knowledge, personality to be able to understand if it's the right time to close or not the right time to close. But when we're on those listing appointments, you got to the point where you're on a listing appointment, you need to close. Now, can we get the paperwork signed and we don't list for 6 months, a year? Heck, absolutely. Totally fine with that. Don't put pressure on what date it is that they're going to do something. You're closing for the relationship, and the relationship meeting point is getting paperwork signed, getting the buyer broker signed. Okay, thoughts, questions, concerns?
What if the buyer doesn't want to sign a buyer broker?
I understand that. I get that. So this is what I tell everybody. The buyer broker agreement, I have two answers for that. So the buyer broker agreement can be ripped up at any time. I say the same thing about the listing paperwork as well. These agreements can be ripped up at any time. The second you feel I am not the person for the job, you can shoot me a text, give me a call, and you tell me, hey, Eric, I'm ripping this up right now. And I even write it sometimes for them in an email or on the contract. So I tell them this is something you can get out of immediately. And I am not paid unless I help you find a house or I sell your house. So to make sure that we are committed to each other and I can give you my full attention, I have to have you sign this paperwork so that I can get the ball rolling and start working on your behalf, doing the door knocking, doing the cold calling, finding off-market properties to be able to send to you before anyone else gets them. If you don't sign that, what you're telling me essentially is that you would use other agents. So let me ask, would you go and use another agent? And this is kind of a tough question, right? And it needs to be asked. And people will come out and tell you, yeah, absolutely. I'll just go to whatever open house and I'll find the listing. I want to talk to the listing agent. And then you can handle that objection right there. So let me ask you, Priyanka, why are you fearful over signing the agreement? Role play with me.
Because I just want to interview other agents as well.
Oh, totally fine. Have you already interviewed some other agents?
Not really.
Okay. Do you have a plan as far as getting some interviews lined up to find an agent to commit to on the buyer side?
Yeah, I'm talking to a few people.
Oh, fantastic. So when are you looking to make that commitment to a single agent?
I have to be part of it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. So then they can say, well, because there isn't a date. They pretty much don't want to commit to a single agent. Well, I'm not looking to commit to an agent. Okay. That's what you tell me. Now, what does that tell me? What am I hearing from this person? What am I identifying? Am I pre-qualifying right now? 100%. I'm finding out this person doesn't believe they need to have just a single agent. They think they're going to get a benefit from having multiple agents. So tell me, Priyanka, what benefit do you find in, just kind of going from agent to agent, whoever opens the door for you?
Maybe if it's the listing agent I go with, it's a competitive market and I may just get the open.
Yeah. Can I share with you why I think it's kind of risky to go with the listing agent?
Sure.
So I'm sure you know that there's commission on both sides, right? And that the listing agent actually has a signed contract with the seller, and that's their fiduciary. And fiduciary means that's their client, and they need to do whatever it takes to represent that client to the fullest. Now, in this scenario here, they're actually paying me to represent you to make sure that you're represented to the fullest. Now, if you go and sign with the listing agent, are they truly representing you in the highest, most expensive contract that you're probably getting yourself into? Now, are there ways around that question for them? Absolutely. They can say, yeah, I don't care. I just want to see if they'll cut the commission on the other side and double end it. Absolutely. They could totally do that. And that can happen. So don't be afraid that can happen. All you can do is your best effort to put the pitfalls, the problems that could come in that way. You're spending all this money right now, and you're probably going to be offering above asking on the property, right? So I would tell you that every penny counts. And if you put me to work so that I can negotiate on your behalf, instead of a listing agent who's just negotiating on his seller's behalf, I could be able to save you money and in turn represent you to where you're not going to be kicking yourself just getting into a house to get into a house with someone who's just trying to get that property off the market. They're not there to represent you at that moment. So what do you say you give me a month, and I will write on this document that if for any reason Priyanka does not find my services fit, you can rip this contract up and it's null and void.
Is it okay to say that?
Absolutely, yeah. They can back out of that contract at any time. A seller can back out of the listing agreement. They signed a 4-year listing agreement, and they come up to me tomorrow and say, "Hey, I want out." There's nothing I can hold them to. And 9.9999 out of 10, the listing agreements or the buyer agreements don't have any verbiage, like unless you write verbiage in there that says, if you do not transact in the period that we are in contract together, you owe me X amount of commission. Yeah, there's nothing in there tying those people to, as the contract sits right now, there's nothing in there. And the reality is they can back out of that anytime. And that agreement, even in court, doesn't hold up all the time. So really, it's just them making a commitment to you. You can make a commitment to them. And that's what I tell people. So I even, what we always did was I wrote up my own commitment letter. So I would say, Eric Bradley, Eric Bradley, realtor am committed to doing, and I list out bullet point all the things I'm going to do for them. And I make it look long and sexy, right? So I show all the stuff I'm going to do. And then I put what they're committed to do. You see an open house, you text me, you call me. You see a sign for a property that you like, you text me, you call me. You see something online that you like, you text me, you call me. You see a new home build, you text me, you call me. That's their commitment. That's it. And it's not a heavy commitment, right? But what it is though, it's an actual commitment. Now, can I go to court and say, this person owes me commission? Probably not. No, but the reality is those fights are rare. And when they do happen, you probably had someone who's cheating on you anyway, the entire time. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for them to sign on the dotted line and do that actual motion. There is this guy who I learned door knocking from. And the way I learned it from is really, honestly, it's fantastic. So he's an owner of a KW office now, but he would door knock, and the people I would door knock with, we were calling him and asking his advice on stuff. And he's walking and door knocking. And he goes, oh, hold on one sec. And he puts us in his pocket. And he has the conversation with the person, and he goes through just a very generic script. We're selling a house down the street, and I just want to know, chance for you to pick your neighbor. Do you know anyone who's interested in moving to the neighborhood? No, you don't. Okay, fantastic. Let me ask you, have you yourself or any of your neighbors that you know have been thinking about potentially selling? We know we're probably going to get multiple offers on this house. Oh, no, fantastic. Great. Well, I appreciate your time. Wanted to give you the flyer so you can check out more about the property. But let me ask you, if you do find someone, would you promise to let me know? And he uses the word promise. You promise to let me know? What are they going to say? They're going to say no? No, they're not going to say no. They're going to say, yeah, yes, I promise. Right. And so how much does that really work? I mean, you're not binding anyone in anything. But then when you do find someone who's potentially looking, or a neighbor's like, yeah, we were actually checking out that property, may want to upgrade, sell this one, which is only 1,200 square feet, and get that 2,000 square foot model. And then they're like, oh, no. Right? So it's just little things like that, right? The words we choose to use are super important as far as being able to get that conversion at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's what I said that. Other questions? Eric's the bomb. That's nice.
No, those are good pointers for sure.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Scan the QR code if you guys want the slide deck. Thank you, Zoom people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. The training is always great.
Good. Glad you guys got value.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Welcome.
Thanks, Eric. Have a great day.
You too, Barbara.
And I want the slides, but I'm watching this on my phone. How do I do the QR code?
Thank you, Eric.
My phone. I'll figure it out.
Barbara, I'll send it to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care. Have a great day.
Could
You
you
too.
send it to me too, Eric? Because I'm having the same trouble.
Yes, Inde, you got it, man.
No, you're awesome. Thank you.
You're the best, Eric.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.